Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your extraordinary service to our country and for your being here today with our committee. I'm going to submit a series of written questions that relate to Armenia, Nagorno-Karabakh, and Azerbaijan, to the largest Air Force Base and the U.S. Consulate in Punta Delgada in the Azores, some questions relating to the Middle East peace process, our national ocean policy, the importance of continued attention to defense sales, and finally to the State Department's ongoing efforts to protect the human rights of LGBT individuals around the world, especially in countries such as Nigeria and Uganda. So I'll do those in writing. And I would just ask you, in the time that I have, to really comment on two areas. One is UN peacekeeping functions. As you know, we are at least $350 million behind in our peacekeeping dues for fiscal year 2014. Your budget proposal brings us closer to fulfilling our financial obligations to UN peacekeeping. But if you could just speak to the importance of this funding and how our arrears impacts on our ability to pursue our interests at the UN and around the world. And the second issue I'd like you to touch upon is, as you know from certainly your long service in the Senate, we and other developed countries jointly committed in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to $30 billion in assistance between 2010 and 2012 to help mobilize $100 billion in public and private funds by 2020 to address the causes and the impact of climate change. After that, the United States elevated climate change as a development priority, and I wondered if you would speak to how your budget reflects those priorities and might help us realize those objectives. In 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Well,
I apologize.
We're extremely focused. I'll take climate change first. We're extremely focused on the climate change. We have money for research for mitigation efforts. And we are gearing up, as you know. I just came back from China, where we agreed jointly work together in order to set the target dates for 2015, and the President is laying down his climate action agenda. It's an all-government effort, so the budget actually doesn't reflect everything because every department is being called on to do things with respect to climate change. On the issue of the UN peacekeeping, the request that we put into you is $753 million above the 2014 request, and that's primarily because of increases to meet our commitments for Mali, Somalia, South Sudan. In addition, we have to fund all the missions at the UN assessed rate, which is 28.4%, not the 27 point something percent we pay, so there's a gap. And finally, we're adjusting for one-time offsets that are being used to cover our bills this time. There's $218 million for that. So we're pulling down on some of our peacekeeping, East Timor, Liberia, Haiti, Cote d'Ivoire, several others, as the troop levels decline and as the need declines. But we have increased efforts in Africa and a number of different places, the Central African Republic, the Great Lakes region, South Sudan, and so forth. So the demands from the UN have grown, and the money's gone the opposite way.